Hey, creative friends, welcome back to Collage-Lab, where I share tips and tricks, ideas, and inspiration for your collage practice. I'm Kelly, the founder of Collage-Lab, and today I want to share 10 must-have items in my studio that did not come from the art supply store. So stick around. These are everyday items that I use, and a lot of them come from the local grocery store. Let me show you what I've got. Probably the number one thing that I use in the studio every day are plain old coffee filters. You can get a huge pack of them for very little money, the basket kind of coffee filters, and I use them every day. Let me show you what I do with them. When I'm gluing, I protect my surface with the coffee filter. And that way I can go off the edges of whatever I'm gluing without messing up my surface. Once my glue stick's a little gloopy today. Once this gets too sticky, I will go ahead and I will fold the coffee filter over, and I will continue to glue. Grab a different glue stick. I'll continue to glue on the back side. And I'm not getting glue right on my work surface where other pieces of paper could get stuck to it, where I would have some buildup of adhesive. So I love my coffee filters. I will also use them when I am testing out a pen or a marker before I go and make a mark. I'll just make sure that the pen is working. And the other thing that I will do with those is if I'm painting off of the edge of something, I will use this to protect my surface. So if I wanted to add a little bit more color there, oops, I can go right off the edge onto the coffee filter. Just like that. So I love those. Whenever I teach in person, I come with a big old stack of coffee filters. I give everybody, 10 or 20 of them so that their work table doesn't get sticky throughout the day. Another of my favorite things that I pick up at the grocery store are squeeze bottles. I mix paint in them. That way I can mix up, large portions of more than one color. This is golden turquoise phthalo and a little bit of yellow medium and white. And I think it gives me a nice light turquoise color that I really enjoy. Matte medium, gloss medium. Make sure you label your bottles, but I love the ones that come with a little cap. You can just pull that off, and there's a little spot here where I can get the cap out of the way. This is matte medium, and so how I would use that is put some down on my watercolor paper, spread it around with a brush or a silicone paint pusher. Did a little bit too much here, but and then I'm going to place down my image and smooth it down with more matte medium over it. Which leads me to The next tool that I really kind of enjoy, I'm a messy artist, as you can see. And I don't enjoy wearing gloves, but sometimes I want to just mush my hand around in that medium and get rid of those brush strokes. So I found these finger covers or finger cots. They're like a one finger glove, and they just roll right onto your finger. And so I'm just going to use that to smooth that medium out, get rid of the brush strokes without, and push down some of these wrinkles. And definitely used a little too much. The other thing I'll use also is my catalyst wedge. Get rid of those wrinkles, get rid of that excess. And smooth as silk. So that is the finger caught, and using my matte medium in a squirt bottle, condiment bottle. I'll also, like I said, use it for paint. I have one that I fill with gesso. It just makes it easier. It makes it easier to find what you're looking for and easily dispense it, no matter what kind of container it came in. I'm always, I go to open this and I'm going to get paint all over myself. I've got to dig that dried out piece. My bottle of matte medium, the cap is broken off of, so that's kind of a pain. And so easily put it in to these bottles, and the cap never gets lost. Again, I like to label them, and there you have it. Squeeze bottles, condiment bottles. Baby wipes are another staple in my studio, and I use them several different ways. Number one, get the excess paint or glue off of my fingers, obviously, but I also use it as step one with cleaning my brushes. After I've gotten the matte medium all over this brush, the first thing I'll do is take a baby wipe and get most of that off. And I find that's more effective than continuing to put my brush into dirty water. Baby wipes are also great for, smoothing down a little bit of glue that has escaped the edges, removing a little bit of paint here or there. A baby wipe can help you with that. Vintage papers, be careful, because you may take some of the ink off with the baby wipe. But great for cleanup, great for just keeping your work surface glue-free, paint-free, and cleaning the sticky stuff and paint off of your hands. You can also let these, dry out. And if I had paint all over this, it would be a nice little texture that I may add to a mixed media piece in the future. But I do love my baby wipes. Again with the baby wipes, I'm going to clean up a little bit of paint I got on my surface. And before I clean this brush and put it in water, I'm going to remove as much of the paint as I can with the baby wipe, just using a pulling motion with the baby wipe. And then, like I said, once this dries, I might have some interesting collage fodder. Next on my list is Murphy's Oil Soap. This is a concentrated wood cleaner. You can find it in the cleaning supplies at the grocery store or big box store, and it works like magic. I use Murphy's Oil Soap to clean my brayers after I get all that acrylic paint buildup on the brayer. I'm going to soak this in a little bit of water and Murphy's oil soap overnight, and I'll show you how easily that peels off. Gunky glue brushes, soak those in a little water and Murphy's oil soap, and it'll be good as new. And when your scissors get a lot of adhesive buildup, take a little Murphy's oil soap, rub it on the blades, and they will be snipping as good as new. Another of my must-have favorites are a variety of spray bottles. This one is filled with water. I'll use it to water down paint. I'll use it to make paper relax a little bit by spritzing water on it. This one I've got filled with alcohol, which is going to give me an interesting effect. This one is filled with instant coffee. So if I want a distressed look, I can just spritz some of that instant coffee on. I don't know where I'd be without spray bottles. So I'm going to take some of my paint that I have mixed up in my easy to dispense condiment bowl. I'm going to add some water with the spray bottle. And another of my favorites as far as mark making tools is this silicone barbecue basting brush. Isn't that fun? And so I will mix that up in some watered down paint, and I can get some interesting lines, some interesting marks, and also some really great splatter. And it cleans up so easily because it is silicone. Pretty much any silicone utensil, kitchen tool, will find its way into my studio for one reason or another. And it's one of those, where has silicone been all my life? It is so, so easy to clean up. So that's a game changer. Another thing I've got in the studio that really helps me organize when I'm working on multiple things at once, when a project is partially finished or when I've got an idea and I start gathering materials, I've got a bunch of cafeteria trays that I picked up at an estate sale. And whenever I see cafeteria trays, I grab them. Some of them have the little dividers, and those are great if you're sorting out small bits and pieces. But I really like these just flat trays because I can gather what I'm working on for one project. So this is in my sketchbook. I've got some papers cut out already. I've got some images I might use. I've got some jelly prints. I've got some tissue paper. Maybe I've decided that I like these two colors of marker, so I'm going to put those there. I want to use something from this imagery, and I'll put these all together, and they're stackable. And so I can take this whole project and move it aside, and I can move in the supplies for another project. So I love the cafeteria trays for organizing multiple projects at once. So if you're using current magazines, you will find that a lot of times the pictures, the pages, the ads are very glossy. Other things that might be kind of glossy are playing cards. Look at the light reflecting off of that. And so sometimes I will grab some sandpaper and just knock back some of that gloss. I can go a little more heavy-handed if I want to obscure, say, her face. And that's going to tone down that magazine image. With the playing cards, if I'm going to use that as a substrate, I'm probably going to go over it with sandpaper, not only to get rid of that glossy look, See, it's not as reflective, but it's also going to give me a little more tooth so that my glue or medium will stick to it better. So sandpaper, we can also put patterns in, you know, an otherwise boring piece of paper. I've got a stencil underneath, and I will just sand here in one direction lightly. This is 150 grit sandpaper. The smaller the grit, or the smaller the number, the larger the grit, so the rougher it will be. The larger number, 150, 180, will give you a finer sanding experience. But look at how we've changed that plain piece of paper and given it some texture and something of interest. Another thing that's similar to sandpaper is an emery board, you know, for nail care. And what I like to use the emery board for is going around edges. Going to soften those edges a little bit. This is kind of a glossy card finish. And so I'm going to soften those edges. And then if I were to apply paint or ink to the edges, the card is going to be more receptive because I've taken that emery board and made it a little bit rougher. So we've probably all done the thing where you stack a million books on top of your collage to get everything to dry flat. The problem with books sometimes is they're uneven and you know, tippy. And my problem is, and I don't remember which books are in the stack. Maybe it's a book I want to cut up for the next collage. Another issue sometimes is you have something that is a bit dimensional. Like on this one, there's a washer under the face. And so a handy, very inexpensive solution is kitty litter. Now I use unscented, non-clumping clay kitty litter, and I will put it in Ziploc bags. It's a little easier to manage. And then I can lay that on my collage overnight, and it will hold everything down. Lots of weight. Another good use for kitty litter is when you end up with some old books that have a musty smell to them. You can put some kitty litter in the bottom of a plastic container and then put your books, magazines in that container, seal it for a couple days, and it will remove any moisture that might be present and definitely soak up the odors. So kitty litter, super cheap at the grocery store. Okay, I have to show you the magic that is Murphy's oil soap. I usually soak my brayers or brushes overnight. A little bit of water, a little bit of Murphy's oil soap. I just put these in a few hours ago, and I just want to show you this. Look, did you see that? This entire thing of paint just came off just as I lifted it out of the Murphy's oil soap. And the rest of it is very easy to just wipe off. See how easily that comes clean? Big globs of paint on the end of the roller just comes right off. So I'm going to go around and just pull it off with your finger. Look at that, nice and clean. Grab a paper towel and I'll just show you that we can get all of that paint off. That was just soaking a few hours. It's magic. So you really do need to check that out for cleaning your brayers. Now here's the big one. So you can see that paint. Let me show you how easily this is going to come off. You see that? It's that big blob of acrylic paint. It's just sliding off of the brayer. I can probably just take a paper towel. Yeah, just take a paper towel and just wipe that all off. That was pretty thick, many layers of paint. Look how clean that gets. It's like magic. And here's where you get the buildup on the edge. It just comes right off after a good soaking. On the other edge as well. Look at that. It's all going to come off, and that brayer is going to be so nice and so clean. So there you have it. 10 studio must-haves that I didn't have to spend a lot of money at the art supply store, but things that help keep my work surface clean, clean my brayers, flatten collages, all sorts of things, keep my supplies organized and keep my fingers from getting really messy. What's your weirdest or most unexpected studio tool? Let me know below in the comments, and don't forget to like and follow, hit subscribe, and visit explore.collagelab.com to see what fun things we've got coming up. Thanks, everybody.